Hello everyone and welcome to this tutorial. My name is Masuvius for Shadows Night Gaming. Now before we get started, I want to go ahead and make a disclaimer right now. I'm not an expert at ELS. I just wanted to show you guys a couple of things that I learned recently that I think might help you guys. So you may come across some models that you really like, car models, and you download them, you use ELS on them, and you really like them. But what you don't like about them is the pattern that the actual lights flash. So what I'm going to do is show you real quick how you can change those patterns and where you can find all of those patterns. Now, I'm going to go in one I've already created here, Police 4. And show you exactly what I'm talking about here. Now, I could go through all of this, but this really doesn't matter. This is all when you're creating the lights and where they'll be and everything like that. But what I want to show you really comes down to down here. Now, you'll see if you know anything about code, slash before the word means ending of that segment. So this is the beginning of your lights right here, when it's the WRNL, which is your warning lights, okay? And you'll see here, you can do a couple things, and I'll go through each one of these step by step and show you exactly what they mean and what you can do with them. Now here, you'll see... before I do that, I want to explain with ELS, you have three steps, okay, on your lights. You have your, what they call your warning, your secondary, and your primary, okay? So what we're going to look at right now is just our warning lights, and those are generally going to be if I remember correctly, it's like almost like a secondary red and blue, okay? And then your secondary lights are going to be those, usually it will have the actual... usually they're what would you call it? Like an amber or a yellow. And usually there'll be like an LED strip that points one direction or the other. Anyway, we'll get into it and I'll show you exactly what I mean in game. But anyway, so what you want to do here is you will notice a couple things. First of all, you'll see preset patterns. Now, you'll see LSTG3. That means lighting stage 3. That will be, if you're using a controller, you click the button 3 times, or if you're using a key on your keyboard, you'll hit that 3 times and it gets to lighting stage 3. So what you'll see here is you'll see it says enabled. Now what this is right here, this is basically saying when this stage is activated, what preset pattern is going to be activated with that light. Now, I have it set to false right now because I don't want that, and I'll get to why that in a second, but you can choose that to be the case. At a certain lighting stage that's activated, you can say this lighting becomes, uses this pattern, okay? Now, not all lights will be active at all different stages. For example, warning lights are only active at lighting stage 3. Primary lights are activated at lighting stage 2 and 3. And then, of course, your secondary is activated 1, 2, and 3. Now, that is that preset patterns right there, and you can do that on all 3, your warning, your primary, and your secondary, if you so choose. You can have those presets, but I like scan patterns. I like my patterns to change. I don't want them to be stationary. So let me show you how to do that. But before I get there, I want to show you what force patterns means. Force patterns basically means when a certain tone hits. So this is your sirens, okay? You have your main horn, right? You have your siren tone 1, your siren tone 3, your siren tone 3, 4, etc., your panic mode, out of vehicle, etc. Now, what this all gives you the option is really customize your vehicle. So when you hit your horn, for example, you could have it, if you change this to true, and you change the pattern here to whatever pattern you want, you could have it where maybe it flashes, your lights all flash at once, and like almost like a strobe pattern or something like that. When you have siren tone 3, which is generally your... oh gosh, can't remember exactly what it's called. It's like a pulse. Basically, your siren almost makes like a pulse sound. You could have it pulsate back and forth or what have you. And you could completely customize your vehicle how you would like each lighting pattern to be associated with each different audio, so your different siren tones. And so you would change each individual one of those right here. You change these to true. Whichever ones you want it to be active, you would change it to true. And then your pattern here, this is where your lighting stage pattern code will go. Now, I'll show you how to get those codes in a second, okay? But before we get there, I wanted to show you what I use. Now, this is the scan pattern. Now, you can use all of these, all right? But you have to understand this, a scan pattern, these will overwrite the scan pattern, and this will overwrite these. So you have to know that it's set up in a linear fashion, the way the code is. So whatever's first gets activated. So if you want just, your scans to be, you can't have any of these set to true. All right. So just keep that in mind. And what I mean by that is, if I had this one true, these would all be scans, as in these would be scans, these would be scans. But this one right here would be just whatever pattern I have set. Okay, and you can see that I have that set up down here where this is true at pattern 135. Okay, this is my main lighting pattern. I'll show you what that looks like in a second when we get in game. But I wanted to show you, that this all first before I jump in the game and show you the application part of it. Now, you'll see your scan pattern custom pool. Okay, you have to have this enabled to true. Okay, this is normally false. You have to set it to true. As you can tell down here, I have it set true on this one as well. And that's because I like patterns on it to be customized. Now you'll see on my secondary lights, I do not have it where it'll be true as in scan. So my secondary lights do not scan. And there's a reason for that, because I want it to make a certain, what would you say, a certain pattern. Okay, I have it set to a certain pattern. As you can see up here, lighting stage 1 is always going to be pattern 33, no matter what other lights do. Anyway, so you'll see these different patterns. You'll see pattern. Basically, this opens up your pattern, and then you say what code you want, and then you close it. All right, and you can make as many as these as you want. I would say be careful. Don't do too many. I'm not sure how that might affect the game, but I haven't seen an issue with the amount I have in there right now, which I think is like 10. Which is 10. So that's how many I have. But yeah, so this is your pattern. So you have to set it to true. Sequential means that it's going to go down in a sequential manner, as in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, as you see. Now, if you change that to false, it'll randomly pick. Okay, it'll be completely randomized. But I like it sequential. All of these are different anyway, so it really doesn't matter. But just be aware that is an option for you. Okay, so this is in your VCF config file. If you don't know what that is, read the documentation. The ELS documentation is very, very thorough, and you can learn a lot from that. So I read a lot, and I watched some videos to figure out how to do all this. Just be aware of that. Okay, so now that we've covered that, and each one of those is the same. So you have your warning, your primary, and your secondary, and they are all basically the same setup, same type of code. Okay. Now that we've seen that, and you basically understand that you have to put in these patterns in order to get the patterns you want. Now, where do you get those patterns? Well, you get those patterns in game. And let me show you where. So I'm going to pull up GTA 5 here. All right. I'm out here at the airport, so you can ignore the jet flying in the background here. And you'll see that my lights right now are a steady back and forth pattern. Now, I have mine set to true on my scan mode. So you might be wondering, why isn't my car scanning? Now you'll notice on the back, like I was talking about, how you'll have the arrow going to the side. That's your warning lights there, or I'm sorry, your secondaries. All right. Then you have your primaries, then you have your secondaries. Okay. Or actually, the side ones, those are secondaries. These are your primaries. Anyway, but let me show you exactly how to find those codes, as well as the important aspect of being able to have scan. Now, I'm going to use the default keys here, which is Control P, and it's going to bring out the pause menu, but we're going to X out of that. And you'll see in the lower right-hand corner right now that you'll see this is the ELS basically display. It shows you everything that's going on with your vehicle. As you can see, when I have my secondaries on, they automatically activate to that panel 33, that pattern 33 that I have. Then you have your primaries, as you can tell, and my warnings as well. And you'll see that it's flashing and showing me exactly what's going on with my lights. Now, you'll notice that, it's still just going back and forth. To actually see the different patterns of your vehicle, you're going to use 3 different keys. That's going to be U, I, and O. Okay, if I hit U once, you'll see my primary changes. Now, if I want to go back, I'm going to select Alt and hit U again. Now, I have Vocal Dispatcher installed, and so Alt actually does that too. So, but that's just a conflict. And I usually don't use Alt to actually go through all my patterns. So it's best you do this before you go on duty, just so you know. Anyway, so that's how you find your different patterns. Now, if I wanted to change my secondary, I would hit I. And if I go to the back of my vehicle, if I just change all my secondaries, you'll notice that they change, right? I mean, it makes perfect sense, right? It changes the pattern. See how it's changing the speed there, and then it's completely changing it. So each now it's a solid kind of blinking, and so now you notice, as you change them, they're going to change. It's just, basic sense, right? And then you have O, which is going to be your warning lights, which you can change those to whatever you want. In most cases, a lot of cars don't have much to do with warning lights. They have a little bit usually, as you can tell, as you see those flashers on the tails there. They can, change the pattern there. But anyway, to show you exactly how you do scan mode, you have to do this every time you load up your vehicle. It's just the way it is, but it'll stay there. That scan pattern will stay in the vehicle until GTA 5 is over, okay, basically. But how you do that is you're going to change your primary, right? That's because that's the one I want to scan. I'm going to change that by to scan. Now, how you do that is you click Alt, then U, and now it's in the scan pattern. Okay, Alt U. That goes back one. Okay, so you have 1 through I think it's 44 or 40. Okay, so this is pattern 40, which is just a steady burn. Okay, if I hit U again, you'll see it goes to scan. So it's basically between 40 and 000, there's a scan pattern you can select. So that's how you change your vehicle to scan. And it took me forever to figure out exactly where that was. So I hope that helps you guys. But that's how you get your scan pattern going. And I have all these different scans in there. And what you have to do with every vehicle that you want to config is you got to figure out what patterns you like. And so you got to go through them all. Be like, okay, I want this one. Let's say I want this one as well. And then maybe that one. And I don't know, let's go 30. Let's say that one too. So, you have to pick these, and what you could do is just write them down on a notepad or whatever, and then you go back to your config file, right? You go back to your config file, which is, if it'll show up, there we go. And then you would insert those patterns right here, okay? And make sure this is set to true. And remember, you have to change that to scan mode inside of your vehicle, inside of GTA 5. But I hope that helps a little bit, guys, on this confusing thing that is ELS, because it is confusing, but it's also awesome at the same time. So I hope that helps you guys be able to customize your vehicles a little more to how you like them. There's a whole lot more to it than what I showed you here, but I wanted to go ahead and show that to you because that is what I was looking for forever, and I couldn't find the information out there, so I went ahead and made this video. I hope it helps. If it does help you, go ahead and put a thumbs up down there, and subscribe to the channel if you like what you see on the channel. I do a lot of LSPDFR, but thanks for watching, and see you guys next time.